Welcome to A Month in Gaming, where in this segment we talk about all the news that happened in the month of February in the video game world. Today we're going to talk about how people are losing their mind over Quantum Break, how the lead writer behind Mass Effect Andromeda is leaving BioWare, how we're not going to be getting an Assassin's Creed in the year of 2016, some Fallout 4 DLC, and so much more right here in A Month in Gaming. It has been officially announced that Quantum Break is going to be coming to the PC as well as being available on the Xbox One, and as a result the internet has lost its mind, so let's break this down together. Originally, the Quantum Break game was supposed to be an Xbox One exclusive. Well, now we find out that it is also going to be available on the PC as well. So I can only think of one scenario as to why people would be upset about this. If you are a person that has already owned a PC that can run Quantum Break, and only thought that in order for you to play Quantum Break, you had to get an Xbox One, and then you went out and you either got an Xbox One or you pre-ordered the game with the Xbox One bundled, those are the people I can understand are upset, and you have full reason to be upset. Keeping in mind, if you go out and buy a console, if it were me, there are a couple of other games that I am justifying that purchase of a console for, otherwise you're just buying a $460 game. But I'm not trying to tell you how to use your money. Everybody else in the world needs to understand one thing. The Xbox One is owned by Microsoft. The PC is owned by Microsoft. So understand that this is all the same parent company. All the money is going to the same place. So I can't fault Microsoft by making a decision to reach a wider audience. Obviously, there are people who have a PC that do not have an Xbox One. If they put Quantum Break on PC in addition to the Xbox One, they are only going to be widening their sales. That is perfectly fair. For everybody else that's saying that they are just upset because of the fact that the Xbox One has lost another exclusive to the PC, I need to let you know one very important thing. The console war is over. This whole thing of Xbox versus PlayStation, it's over. And guess what? PlayStation won. Now, I would be the first one to admit that I am a huge Xbox fan. I don't own a PlayStation 4. I have no plans of purchasing a PlayStation 4. I didn't even play PlayStation 3. But to understand one thing, Microsoft really screwed the pooch right out of the gate. They shot themselves in the foot, and they were behind in sales throughout the entire lifespan of the Xbox One so far. And there are no signs of that changing. The Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 released in 2013. They went all the way through 2014. We are now in 2016. Listen, the numbers aren't going to be changing. PlayStation is still ahead, and it will continue to be ahead. I would highly doubt it if Xbox One were to somehow pull ahead. Listen, PlayStation 1, and people who are still feeding into this console war need to understand that it's over. I'm sorry, but it's over. It was rumored before, but now it is officially confirmed that we will not be receiving a new Assassin's Creed in the year of 2016. The original rumor, while in addition to stating that Assassin's Creed was going to be skipping this year, also stated that the next entry in the series would be released in 2017 and would be titled Assassin's Creed Empire and based within Egypt instead of feudal Japan. Because reasons. Now, this is an actual good thing for the franchise. This is something that I have been saying for a long time. The series really suffered from becoming an annual game. It was a lot of the same. So they need to really take a step back and rethink their approach with this series. Now, from the other statements that were made, saying that they were going to be taking a lot of inspiration from The Witcher 3, says to me a couple of things. It means that are they going to be embracing this huge world? Are they going to be embracing a huge story? Or are they going to be embracing maybe a role-playing element? All three of those things I would absolutely love. Now, I think that they shouldn't change too much about the Assassin's Creed formula, because there are fans that really like the general idea. I think that they need to tweak the mechanics. There are some bugs in there. There are some inconsistencies. Listen, all of this could be false, except for the fact that the game is going to be skipping 2016. But when it comes to leaks as it pertains to Assassin's Creed, the past few times, they've been spot on. Unity, we knew about. Syndicate, we knew about. And all of a sudden, we know about Assassin's Creed Empire. This game is still 2 years away, so obviously a lot can change. But the fact that the game is going to be skipping this year and that Ubisoft realizes that they need to get themselves a little bit of a refresher when it comes to this series, that makes me a happy camper. The lead writer behind Mass Effect Andromeda, Chris Schlarf, is going to be leaving BioWare to pursue a career with Bungie, and many are speculating that this could mean he is working on Destiny 2. Now, there are a few things that we can pull away from this story. The first is that Bungie probably realizes the mistakes that they made when it comes to story with the original Destiny. They cannot do what they did before. They cannot shy away from story, and they certainly cannot tell players that if they like the story and they want more about it, to go research it online, because that was one of the reasons why I was not a huge fan of that game. So the fact that they are bringing on a writer like Chris Schlarf means that obviously they are focusing more on a stronger story element. Now, whether that means that they are going to be working on Destiny 2's story, or if they're going to be working on additional story DLC for the current Destiny that's out, like what we saw with the Taken King. Now, that remains to be seen, but as it pertains to Mass Effect Andromeda, I think that there are two scenarios. One is more likely than the other. The one is that people need to be panicking and the game is in trouble. I don't think this is the case. I think what is much more likely is that the writing of the game is finished. Now, I don't know BioWare's workflow. I don't know if they write the story and then build the game around it, or if they build the game and then write the story within it. Not really sure what their workflow is, but I strongly believe that this game is in good shape, and especially with the tweet that was released by Chris Schlarf, basically saying that he couldn't be prouder for working on Mass Effect Andromeda and that he cannot wait for the final release of the game. This all bodes well for Mass Effect Andromeda. So when it comes to where are we going to be seeing Mass Effect Andromeda, I think that there are two possibilities. Either we're going to be seeing it later this year, maybe even in the fall, or possibly around the springtime, which is around the time of year when Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012. This game has been in development for 4 years. I really cannot wait to play it. Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro still express that they want to continue to work together, and they also want to work with Norman Reedus on a possible virtual reality horror title. So, one, could this be something that is along the lines of a Silent Hills-esque kind of game? I don't think that it's going to be Silent Hills, because I don't know if Hideo Kojima's new company is the owner of Silent Hills. I don't know if Konami has released that license. That remains to be seen. I'm eager to see what those two come up with, and I think that they are going to put together something. But as far as virtual reality goes, I think that the horror franchise does very well in virtual reality. I don't think virtual reality is going to take off, but I still think that this is something that is worth discussing. It is something that worth paying attention to. So I'm excited to see what these two gentlemen, and with Norman Reedus, if possible, are going to continue to work together and what they're going to pop out. It has been confirmed that Titanfall 2 is going to have a single-player story campaign. This is answering the negativity that the first game garnered for having its weird delivery of story. That being that during games, it was delivering story while all the action was taking place, which meant that the attention of the players was not on the story that was being delivered, but the action in which they found themselves in. And it was also being told during lobbies in between missions, which again, everybody was worrying about dealing with loadouts and burn cards and things like that. So this is a good thing for me, because I really liked the first Titanfall. I think that Respawn and that team and what they've done with the Modern Warfare series of Call of Duty, with the exception of Modern Warfare 3, of course, I am really excited to see their storytelling elements. I can't wait to see the kind of stuff that you could get into with Titanfall, especially with that universe and the story behind the militia and the IMC, how that rebellion got started, how that conflict got started, what happens maybe after the events of the first Titanfall, or maybe even before the events of the first Titanfall. I think there's so much that you could do in that universe, and I can't wait to see it. Of course, Titanfall 2 is not going to be an Xbox exclusive. It is going to be available not only on the PlayStation 4, but it is also going to be available on the PC as well. Pre-generation consoles, probably not, but hey, we're getting a Titanfall 2, and it's going to have a story. I'm happy about that. It has also been confirmed that Watch Dogs is going to be getting a sequel. Yeah, I don't think that's surprising anybody. The new Doom officially has a release date of May 13th. Now, it had a great showing at this past E3. I think that it looked great. I'm very eager to see going forward. I've never played a Doom game before, so I really want to try this one out. It doesn't have any number attached to it. It's not a Doom 4 or anything like that. This is just simply Doom. Does this mean that it is a rebooted series, or if it is continuing the story of Doom? That remains to be seen, but this is a game that I'm truly excited about. It just looks like a fun game to play, and always the best games are the most fun ones. So I'm really excited to see more about Doom as it comes out. Red Dead Redemption and Castlevania Symphony of the Night had leaks on the Xbox One store this month, which makes players think that we could be getting a backwards compatible Red Dead Redemption or an available digital download of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This excites me a lot. It's not coming out now. It was available, but then it was quickly removed. Listen, this excites me because, one, it's making me say, okay, eventually we're going to get a backwards compatible Red Dead Redemption, or maybe we're just getting a fully remastered. I doubt we're getting a remastered version of Red Dead Redemption. I think that it is just going to be backwards compatible. Red Dead Redemption, I think, is amazing. I think it has an incredible story. One of the best characters in video games, John Marston, is the star of that game. It has one of the best DLCs in history, I think, with the Undead Nightmare, which I am still surprised that Grand Theft Auto 5 still doesn't have a zombie DLC of that caliber yet, because I think that that would work perfectly in Grand Theft Auto 5. But also Castlevania Symphony of the Night. That's a game that I've always been wanting to play. For whatever reason, I never got around to playing it on the 360. But the fact that it could be coming out for the Xbox One, that excites me a lot. Bethesda has officially announced that 3 DLC packs are coming for Fallout 4. The first being Automatron is going to be coming out next month, and it's basically about evil robots. That makes me think that either A, they're going to be continuing the story that they had in Fallout 4, or B, that they're going to be doing something completely new, but maybe having some themes of the original game into this one. It doesn't say anything about new areas, just says that there is going to be a new story involved. So it is story DLC. The next one is Wasteland Workshop, and it's basically about capturing, training, and battling live creatures like death claws and things like that. And I also think that they're going to be doing some sort of survival element in that DLC as well. This is going to make me think, if you think about Skyrim, this is more of like the Hearthstone level, where it's just introducing new features, maybe not necessarily story, but it is just introducing this new thing that you can play around with. And then the final and last one, which is the biggest of them all, is going to be Far Harbor. Now this is going to be introducing a new area, new creatures, new weapons and stories and quests. Like, there's just so much new stuff. It's also very akin to what they did with Dragonborn, introducing a whole new region for you to explore, additional story to go along with that. So this is the biggest DLC that's coming out. Far Harbor is going to be coming out in May. We have Wasteland Workshop is coming out in April. And of course, Automatron is going to be coming out in March. 3 huge DLCs coming out in the next 3 months. Hey, Fallout 4 was a fantastic game. I couldn't put it down. When I finally was able to, I just only wanted to go back. And even after spending over 40 hours in that game, I felt like I only scratched the surface. So the fact that they're putting out more additional content, hey, I'm super stoked. And in our last story today, Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 are going to be coming to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Why? I don't understand. I understand 4. Like, I can sort of justify 4. 4 is a beloved title, and a title that I still haven't played, much to the dismay of many of my friends who continue to yell at me because of the fact that I haven't played it. Regardless, 5 and 6, really? 5 and 6 are 2 titles that demonstrate that Capcom doesn't know what to do with the franchise. Okay, they don't know if the fans want more survival horror or if they want something more action-oriented. They're trying to create the series to be more action-oriented. I don't know if that's always the right thing, because when people played Resident Evil 4, they really liked it. So Capcom said, we'll give you more of that. And then they put out Resident Evil 5, which was just all about action and a Chris Redfield on steroids. Fans did not like it, but it's not a bad game. The AI is abysmal, but the game should be played with another person in respect. That being said, Resident Evil 6 is a game that I like, but it is so jumbled with all these different mixtures of, okay, you want survival horror, but you also want action. Maybe there's a mixture of both. Like, they had 3 different campaigns. They even had a 4th hidden campaign. That game was just a jumbled up mess. I enjoyed it, and I think that if you play all 4 of the campaigns, you get a really good story in there. And I think that, you know, Leon's story is the best because it actually has zombies in it. But even still, I think that, one, should Capcom be really focusing on remastering some of their old titles or porting some of their old titles, which they've been doing a lot with some of their original Resident Evil games? I personally think that they should be moving forward with the franchise. Maybe they should be putting their efforts a little bit more into Resident Evil 7. I think that they need to make a return, a solid return to the Resident Evil survival horror, because that's what fans want. I don't know where they're getting this action thing from, but they're thinking that fans want action. I guess maybe because of the fact that all these Call of Duties are going to be coming out, and maybe they're getting that idea. Listen, people want survival horror, Capcom. So give them survival horror with Resident Evil 7. You know that Resident Evil 7 is going to be coming out, so let's go ahead and get it. Thank you. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this new style of video that I'm working with. If you really like this video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Both of those things really help out a lot. Also, feel free to comment below. Give us a little bit of feedback, some new ideas that we could go with. Maybe if you like it, maybe there were some things we could have done better. I am more than happy to hear your feedback. Also, here are some of the videos that we came out with during the month of February. Of course, we had the Fallout 4 review. Long coming, but it finally came out. Then we have This Is Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is, if you haven't figured it out, is basically like Rick Plays, which is basically a Let's Play where I go over the mechanics of the game. I'm basically calling it This Is because I'm coming out with a new series. I don't know. It was an idea that I had. And also our final video, most recent video that we put out was the Rise of the Tomb Raider review. So go ahead and check out those 3 videos. Guys, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.